So we're still doing this, huh? 5 times vaxxed: Biden, Fauci, Kamala, Albert Bourla, the CEO, shout out CEO of Pfizer, Rochelle Walensky. Is she still in charge of what exactly? One of those governmental entities. All get the coof. Yeah, imagine that. But the unvaccinated Novak Djokovic is denied entry. It's funny, we're still doing this 2023 because he poses a public health risk. Are you out of your mind? A sad state of science in 2023. Yep, Novak Djokovic denied entry into the United States for a second time. The first time was during the summer for the U.S. Open. Couldn't make it over because reasons? Oh, was that back when the jab was like super de-duper effective? And now it's just, well, depending on the day is what you can say about it on YouTube. Over on Rumble, though, I got a bunch of different things that I'd love to say about it. But hey, man, we're trying to straddle the lines here. So he has to withdraw from the Indian Wells tournament. Not racist, that's just what the name is. Dot or feather? I don't know. Novak Djokovic is the world's #1 tennis player, and he's not allowed into the United States. Fucking stupid. Has been refused entry into the United States for a second time because he's not vaccinated against the coof. As a result, he has been forced to withdraw from this week's tournament at the BNP Paribas Open, which starts Wednesday in Indian Wells, California. The Serbian tennis star, whose only crime appears to be that he attempted to enter the United States legally. Yeah, he didn't have a vax pass, and as somebody close to me, I'll just keep it vague like that, had to go down to the United States for a couple weeks ago, and they just about got held up at the border because they didn't have their lovely little piece of paper. And it's like, we're still doing this, huh? And even though the most recent date on that sheet was back when the first rollouts were coming down, and when Canada had a soft vaccine mandate in order for you to go. Actually, it wasn't even soft. It was outside of essential businesses. You were persona non grata. You were one of the Untermensch. That was back, what, 2021? Yeah. So yeah, because that was the only date on that little card. No, it's fine. Yeah, you can come through 2 years later. Interesting. So you're telling me it's all about compliance and not about health. Interesting. Serbian tennis star, entering legally, had applied for a waiver of the U.S. government's strict vaccination policy for all legal foreign visitors, but was denied the request even though Djokovic had already had the coof. Interesting. I thought we were recognizing natural immunity. No, that must not be on this update of the science so far. Interesting. So as far as that remains in effect, I am not allowed into the United States. That's all right. My heart will thank me for it. When news of Djokovic's waiver denial hit Friday, Florida Senator Rick Scott demanded that the Biden administration intervene to grant the waiver. In the letter co-signed by fellow Florida Senator Marco Rubio, the pair used Biden's own words and to make the case for granting the waiver. Specifically, they mentioned Biden's interview on 60 Minutes in which he declared the pandemic to be over, but not the restrictions. Oh, the pandemic's done, but the restrictions, though, how the public health and all that jazz. And the specific, in addition, they cited a letter written by Dr. Anthony Fauci, where the former NIH director wrote the limited efficacy of jabs, some jabs, we don't know exactly which ones, though, in protecting against respiratory pathogens, like a certain coofable. You guys trying to get me taken off? Because I don't know what the policies are on stupid YouTube anymore. Anyways, United States maintains a ban on unvaccinated foreign travelers that is in place until May 11th. What are the chances that we see another strain come through and that the government that figured out that, if we have an ever-running and a forever-running emergency that's out there, we have unfettered access to different emergency powers, then what's the point of ever getting rid of any of the additional emergencies? We're always just going to need justification so we can continue to have more power. What the fuck is going on? But it's so weird. It's so weird. So May 11th is actually a pretty significant date for somebody that I'm very close to, so shout out for that. But that's the earliest that healthy people can travel across the border by plane, because Apparently viruses don't travel by vehicles because you can drive across the border. That's totally fine. But in a plane, though, oh my god, then it's just you're a risk to public health. But if you drive on over, well, fuck people in Montana, I guess. Spring is almost here, which means many people want to travel for spring break to enjoy a mild weather or to take advantage of the off-season travel discounts. Okay, so May 11th, so that's after spring break, and especially in places like Florida, which definitely benefit from the increase in tourism. I wonder if this is vindictive by the Biden administration to subsequently punish any of those red states that would benefit from tourism during spring break. I'm just wondering. A boy can ask questions. However, some popular pre-pandemic destinations can still be challenging to reach. Very few U.S. travel restrictions. Citizens and permanent residents of the United States will not encounter travel restrictions, but the U.S. requires foreign visitors to be fully vaccinated. And what does that mean? Have you got 2 shots, or are you scheduled to get your second of the first 2? Yeah, okay, that's fine. As a reminder, this entry requirement doesn't affect returning citizens. Mask requirements, no masks. We finally realized reality. Still haven't had that strike rescinded, YouTube, you bunch of bastards. Several Western nations, you don't have any reason for this, but that's fine. Require all returning citizens and visitors that have a negative pre-arrival test under these circumstances. Remember, this is all new and updated for this month in 2023. Returning from travel to China, Hong Kong, or Macau, have been in any of the above locations during the last 10 months and are flying through Seoul, Toronto, or Vancouver. Well, that sounds a touch racist. Why not add Vancouver to that Oh, no, Vancouver is on the list. I'm just retarded. Seoul, though. That's interesting. Testing requirement applies to all affected travelers entering the United States that are at least 2 years old. No testing requirements apply if they're coming from any other part of the world, though. That's totally fine. The rest of them, though, you still have to show the old jabberoni. In Canada, though, feel free. Drive, fly, who cares? We're open for business up here, but I don't think that there's very many travel destinations for spring break unless you're looking to do a polar dip. Anywho, Caribbean travels, few exceptions. Turks and Caicos has restrictions. Okay, through March 31st, visitors at least 18 years old have to be fully vaccinated, but do not need a pre-arrival COOF test, or there's COOF travel insurance. What a scam this is. Unvaccinated adults are currently unable to visit Turks and Caicos. But that's fine. You can just go to the Bahamas and just tell them to go fuck themselves. Latin America, no, they don't really care. In fact, they would just appreciate if you just take somebody with you on the way back. They're tiny little people. You can fit them in the overhead carry. Even Europe is like, no, this is all just pretty much gay. Which is kind of funny from the European Union to come through with that. But the EU announced in late February that the European Travel Information and Authorization System, ETIAS, for, those who know, requirement is delayed from November 23 to 24. The travel visa requires travelers from 59 of 62 countries that currently don't need a visa to receive clearance through ETIAS to visit most European countries. Interesting. Once the system rolls out, travelers from the United States will likely require to apply for a digital travel passport. I didn't know about this, but it's good to know. Just another reason to get the fuck out of that stinky shithole that is the European Union. Fuck all of them. All travelers from the United States will need to be processed through ETIAS when it launches next year. Hopefully you just continue to kick that down the road, but as other stupid policies like, we're just going to move to all electric vehicles by 2035 because electricity comes from the wall and it's so much easier to get than through those nasty fossil fuels, which we barely have enough in order to heat everybody. We're just surprised nobody froze this winter. You won't be able to feed yourself during the spring, but you know what? Hey, at least you got to stay nice and roasty toasty. Further, several regions are implementing similar biographic data protocols. This is just tracking shit. Tracking IDs, digital IDs. They already ran the test programming with all the vaccine passports and everybody was all hunky-dory and fine with that stuff. And now it's just becoming a rule of law. Thanks, Forbes, for at least kind of admitting that. Africa, though, the developing world, they're just like, no, man, it's cool. We're open for business. Most popular African destinations like Egypt, Morocco, and South Africa. What about that big swath in the middle, though? Nobody wants to go there? Have zero entry restrictions for vaccinated and unvaccinated. Again, they're like, no, just come through. Instead of dropping off coins to UNICEF, just come down and deliver them directly. You want to work in our lithium mines, brother? We'll show you the way. Many popular Asian destinations are open for business, but returning could be a bit of a bitch. So if you want to go visit your ladyboys in Cambodia and Thailand, they don't require... Oh, okay. Pre-tests, fantastic. China, I don't know why you'd want to go there unless you want to see the ravaging effects of communism firsthand, or if you're on a demolition business and you're looking at some of those ghost cities and wondering, wow, a bunch of those things need blown up and I could use the practice. Japanese travel restrictions, which are some of the most stringent in the world, to be completely honest. Japan reopened for tourism in 2022, but still requires the unvaccinated to have a negative pre-arrival test. Still not as bad as the United States. They got it flip reversed on that one. Oh, you don't have jab, but that's fine. I just a spit on stick. It's all great. No additional entry protocols apply at this time. The Philippines, send them all back. Indonesia travel restrictions. Indonesia is open for fully vaccinated travelers. Oceania, so Australia and New Zealand. Yeah, I don't think that you can transmit it to sheep, and that scarecrow-looking bitch finally got chased out of Auckland, so we're all better off for it. And less thoughts. Okay, think about this. March is shaping up to be an excellent time for domestic and international travel. Unless, of course, you're Novak Djokovic and you're not allowed into the United States because, well, I've got some things that I could say, but I'll just save it at Biden wants emergency powers for as long as possible, and you'd think that they'd drop the restrictions on May 11th, but also just wait for some emergency to pop up a little bit before then. I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch. Well, if you do have chickens, just make sure that the coop isn't near any staircases, because we know how well Joe transverses those. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.